This is my assignment for Literature 3 of the English Teaching Training College, St. Bartholomew's. For my assignment, I've chosen The Yellow Wallpaper. The Yellow Wallpaper is a short story written by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, published in 1892. It tells the story of a woman who is ill and is taken by her husband to a country house to rest and recover for the summer. But before we go on, spoiler alert, this video discusses the entire story including the end. This is a story that I've enjoyed for many reasons that I will explain in this video. First, the narrative technique. It is written in the first person by Jane, the ill woman who writes her thoughts in a diary that she hides because her husband doesn't allow her to write. I loved this way of narrating the story because we get access to her thoughts in theory, to what she actually thinks, and yet the beginning of the story sounds censored. I think that this in a way shows or highlights the oppression from patriarchy at the time, because even in a situation like this, where no one is going to read what she writes, she still monitors herself so as to avoid outrageous or too controversial statements. So, from the beginning, we start to automatically interweave the story that we get from her with what the theory tells us and with our own schema, our own ideas and our own thoughts that are proper to our context of reception. So, for example, from the beginning, when she tells us that she is ill and her husband doesn't really believe her, I automatically assume that she had a mental disease like probably postnatal depression, which is a disease that was unknown at the time and yet it was very common. I think this book takes a lot of inferring from the reader and it relies a lot on the reader's interpretation. Second reason, the characters. The way each character represents a gender stereotype of the time is amazing. We can see the binary opposition in gender at work. First we get the husband, who is described as rational, practical, dominant, unemotional, and then we get Jane, who is the exact opposite. She's presented as irrational, impractical, full of emotions, crying all the time for no reason, passive, subordinate to her husband, and she's actually treated like a child. And we also get the ideal of what women should be in the character of Ginny, who is subordinate to her brother, who doesn't argue, who is calm and is soft. Reason 3. The symbols. I think this author offers us hints from the beginning to create an atmosphere of madness and fear, which are crucial themes of the story. We get an innocent tale that stars in an old house in the countryside, isolated and empty, which is characteristic of Gothic fiction. She is taken to an attic of all places, and the mental association with the mad woman in the attic is automatically triggered. Moreover, she describes the children's room in the attic by saying that it has marks on the bed, the wallpaper, and that the bed is nailed to the floor. It sounds as a room for the ill, a place where another mad woman had lived. And as the story progresses, we even get more symbols of madness, like the moonlight, like her hysterical fits, the noises and the smell in the room, and then of course the verb creep, which has already a sound that makes you scared, and if you add to that the mental image of somebody creeping in a room, it makes you totally scared, and it's completely appropriate and effective for the kind of atmosphere that the writer is trying to set. Reason 4. The end. Okay, the end. I found it disturbing and brilliant at the same time. As you probably have figured by now, she descends into madness in the end. Or not. This is a controversial point because it could be argued that she was repressed and she was not herself before, and now she is free and this is her true self. And women's freedom at the time was considered madness. And when her husband sees him, the powerful and emotional, pragmatic patriarch faints. How amazing is that? Of course, that if we get into the mindset of the time, it is probable that after the story finishes, Jane is sent to a psychiatric institution because she is powerless and her only way out of patriarchy, sadly, is madness. This is of course my personal opinion. Share if you agree or if you have different views or if you'd like to add something. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Bye!